Imagine a 17th century tourism hub so bustling, so economically and culturally vibrant that it actually rivaled our most popular modern destinations. Well, let's dive right into this explainer, where we're going to journey back to the heart of central India. We're going to discover exactly how the unstoppable forces of geography and empire collided to create an incredibly complex, massive travel network back in the Mughal era.
But, to really understand why this history matters today, we kind of have to look at the present first. India has recently surged to the 39th spot in the Travel and Tourism Development Index. I mean, that is a massive leap on the global stage. It proves that India isn't just relying passively on its ancient past anymore. It's a rapidly growing modern travel powerhouse that's vastly improving its infrastructure, its global accessibility, and its overarching appeal for heritage and cultural tourism.
And central India, it's absolutely the driving force behind this modern boom. Just look at the numbers. Today, the states of Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh draw over 20% of all domestic tourist visits in the entire country. We are talking about a huge volume of modern travelers, literally millions of people, actively seeking out heritage, spirituality, and culture in this specific geographic pocket.
So, that begs the question, who was traveling this exact same landscape 400 years ago? I mean, long before Google Maps, comfortable luxury buses, or travel influencers even existed, how did people navigate? Why on earth did they travel through such unforgiving terrain? And more importantly, what lasting legacy do they leave behind for us to marvel at today?
Let's start breaking this down with Section 1, the heart of central India, mapping the hidden hub.
Just think about the massive footprint of the Bundelkhand region for a second. Spanning 14 distinct districts across present-day Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, it occupies a perfectly strategic position. It's bounded naturally by the sweeping Yamuna River to the north and the rugged Vindhyachal Mountains to the south. In the 17th century, this wasn't just empty land. It acted as a highly strategic natural highway. Its river networks, specifically the Betwa and Ken rivers, literally connected the power centers of northern India with the wealth of the central and southern plateaus. They were the vital arteries for both everyday people and incredibly lucrative trade goods. To truly unpack this region's historical appeal, we've got to view it through a really fascinating academic lens known as geohistorical tourism. Now, that might sound like a mouthful, but all it really means is recognizing that the rocky terrain, the fertile river plains, and those mountain passes literally shaped the political and cultural travel routes of the Mughal era. It's like a giant puzzle where geography dictated the history, and then history left its permanent mark right back on the geography.
Moving right along to Section 2, the pre-modern tourist. Exactly who was traveling in the 17th century? You see, this wasn't just one type of traveler. Picture the bustling, dusty roads of the 17th century. You had spiritual seekers, Hindus, Muslims, and Sufis, all sharing the exact same pilgrimage routes. They were journeying to places like Khajuraho, Orcha, and Panna, fostering deep religious harmony along the way. Passing them on those same roads were wealthy Marwari and Gujarati traders hunting for vast fortunes in the famous diamond mines of Panna, or heading to the luxury textile hubs of Chanderi. And of course, towering above them all, you had the nobles and courtiers. The Bundela Rajputs and Mughal emperors themselves traversed this landscape for lavish hunting expeditions and to oversee monumental architectural commissions. We even had what you might playfully call ancient TripAdvisor reviewers. 17th century European travelers, like the prominent French physician François Bernier, extensively documented their journeys through the empire. They wrote these incredibly detailed letters and journals back home, detailing the immense commercial importance, the surprisingly fertile lands, and the sheer architectural magnificence of this region under the rule of Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. Honestly, their detailed accounts are a huge reason why we know so much about this thriving cosmopolitan hub today.
Which brings us to Section 3, Mughal Rajput Architectural Marvels, a true fusion of stone.
You really have to take a second to appreciate the sheer scale of the Jahangir Mahal in Orcha. Constructed by the local Bundela Rajputs in 1605, it was built specifically to host the Mughal Emperor Jahangir for a visit. Think about that. It wasn't just a place to stay. It was a massive diplomatic statement carved entirely in stone to show loyalty and spectacular wealth. This palace is the ultimate symbol of cultural synthesis. It seamlessly blends intricate Rajput jolly work, those beautiful, precisely carved latticed windows that manipulate light and air, with massive, symmetrical Mughal courtyards, grand entryways, and imposing domes. And this cross-cultural fusion spilled over into absolutely everything being built at the time. Take the Chaturbhuj Temple, for example. It's dedicated to Lord Vishnu, yet it prominently features towering spires and sweeping Mughal-style arches that make it look almost like a regal palace rather than a traditional temple.
Then contrast that with the Datia Palace, a massive, awe-inspiring 7-story marvel. What's truly unbelievable about the Datia Palace is that it was built entirely of stone and brick, without using a single piece of wood or metal for support. Not one. And notice how its grand domes and open symmetry beautifully echo standard Mughal designs, yet they're perfectly adapted to the local central Indian environment.
The exchange wasn't just about the stone structures, though. It was about nature and landscaping, too. Nobles frequently built entire palaces as extravagant gifts. A perfect example is the Rai Praveen Mahal, built in 1618 for a beloved court courtesan and renowned musician. It came complete with a stunning charbagh garden. If you're not familiar, the charbagh is a classic, highly structured Mughal landscaping tradition. It's essentially a paradise garden mathematically divided into 4 symmetrical quadrants by walking paths or flowing water. Here in Bundelkhand, local architects took this luxurious Mughal design but adapted it beautifully to fit the hotter central Indian climate and the available local flora.
But let's be real, life here wasn't all just romantic palaces and peaceful gardens. The rugged Kalinjar Fort, perched high on the Vindhya Ranges, and the hilltop Ajagar Fort, overlooking the winding Ken River, served as heavily fortified military outposts. They were brutal, highly functional structures designed to protect the very trade routes that brought the tourists, pilgrims, and merchants in the first place. These massive stone fortresses really showcase how the sheer art of war and the harsh necessity of defense also drove incredible architectural and engineering innovation across the region.
And that leads us nicely into Section 4, navigating the rugged terrain and the roadblocks of the past. Because despite the booming tourism, this was a harsh reality. These pre-modern tourists battled absolute extremes on a daily basis. The heavy southwest monsoons would completely flood out the dirt travel routes, grinding trade and pilgrimage to a dead halt. Then, lethal summer heat made crossing the barren, rocky plateaus almost impossible without risking severe dehydration. Add in the jagged, steep Vindhyan mountains and the notoriously deep ravines, and you literally have a logistical nightmare. And hey, if the extreme weather and terrain didn't get you, the politics absolutely might. The region was a vibrant frontier of interaction, which sadly meant frequent regional rebellions, and sudden, bloody clashes between local Rajputs and the sprawling Mughal armies were a constant threat to traveler security.
Finally, let's look at Section 5, the future of heritage and sustaining geohistorical travel.
So, what does this all mean for us today? Well, the answer to preserving this history lies entirely in how we treat this heritage right now. By studying how the Mughals and Rajputs seamlessly integrated their infrastructure, their rest stops, their water harvesting stepwells, their shaded gardens with the natural landscape, we actually uncover a 400-year-old blueprint for modern, sustainable tourism. Modernizing the marketing and the infrastructure around these surviving forts, temples, and historic bazaars offers an absolutely incredible way to boost current economic growth. It completely protects the region's environmental and cultural resources while safely inviting the world to see them.
Knowing that geography and history are forever intertwined here, it really leaves us with a critical question to ponder. Will we treat these magnificent ancient sites as mere relics of a bygone empire, just slowly weathering away? Or will we actively use them as living, breathing blueprints for how to travel responsibly, build sustainably, and honor profound cultural fusion in our modern world? Something to think about before you book your next trip.